Hey, what's up, you guys? It's MCLegoboy, and I messed up. I didn't do anything for a week because Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Season 4 is just too good, and then I didn't realize the second week was going to be as busy as it was, so I don't have anything prepared for a video. But I didn't want to release nothing, so you want to know my thoughts on the new $1,000 Death Star? To be succinct,
I don't care.
that's not entirely true given the runtime of this video, but as somebody that's been collecting LEGO Star Wars for 25 years, I just have no interest in a set like this because I already have a Death Star. I didn't really have much of an interest in the playset versions of the Death Star because they didn't have any plating, and as such, they wouldn't have looked good on display. And again, I already had a Death Star, I didn't need another. I don't know what people were really expecting because a big ball was going to be cumbersome to display. I lucked out to have the perfectly shaped cubby for mine, and it wouldn't be all that exciting if it were just the regular Death Star, just a big round ball. And if you wanted something on the inside, it would have to be opened up, so that also affects display as well. It's I don't know. The big coin is undoubtedly disappointing, but I understand why it was done, and I do think that if the other side had even approximated the shape of a sphere and you had the option to display it front or back, that would have greatly helped because you could still achieve a fairly narrow profile while still giving the illusion of a spherical shape. But even still, as someone that was never going to get the set, I still don't really like the interior layout. Firstly, get rid of anything that is not A New Hope, because when people think of the Death Star, they're thinking of that movie. So while I appreciate the inclusion of Galen Erso and Director Krennic, if we're being strict about which movie is showcased, then they have to go. But specifically, Vader's chamber, the Lambda-class shuttle, and Palpatine's throne room, get rid of them. They muddle the continuity of the set. I don't really understand the need to cram Palpatine's throne room in these Death Star sets, because while it is the most important location from the Death Star 2, or at least where some of the most important scenes take place, it's still a different station. And that is prime real estate that could be used to better the other sections from A New Hope and make them less cramped. Palpatine's throne room has also proven to be a successful set in its own right, so just let it be its own thing. In an interview with Brickset, it was also revealed that the equatorial trench was not included at first, and Lucasfilm requested that they add it in, and that says a lot about how this set was designed. The feature doesn't go all the way to the back of the set. There's still a layer of brick, and that cuts it short. What are you doing? After the trench was added, you then have to allow that feature to continue within the rest of the build. Visual continuity has been disrupted with that center section of hallway, and it's what the playset versions got right, because the dark gray band in the middle implies the trench, and it properly divides the northern and southern hemispheres. As for the price and minifigs and stickers and stuff, again, since I'm not buying the set,
I don't care.
there are some odd decisions made. I think the thing with boots on the Imperials is whatever, but C-3PO needs to become a standard because the dual molded leg looks so much better than a printed knee and a toe. The arm and side leg printing can go, though, because it's a little too much. It feels a bit overkill. The version of C-3PO that they're doing is because even though he's currently coming in another set, UCS sets, particularly large ones like this, can be on the market for 5+ years, and rather than continue to produce an expensive version of 3PO, again, doesn't really help since they're still doing the arm printing and everything like that. This cheaper alternative will likely continue once other sets that include the superior version of him goes away. I'm not saying that's right because this is a $1,000 set, but that's what I've come up with. It's a way to ensure longevity while keeping costs low. Also, given the reception that the set has already gotten, I see it lasting one production run after the initial rush of collectors that don't open boxes get their copies. If you buy this set, you're either a completist or you really love what's been done. Other than that, you're just gonna have to cope and sieve. I have no other alternatives for you. In the future, though, this is a wake-up call for the LEGO group, and I think the next Death Star set could specifically be the Death Star 2, because if you wanted a display item, that is the best offering thus far, and you have no choice but to go more three-dimensional with it. The amount of specific detail that would be given to areas under construction would be top-notch, and then to help physically balance things out on the other side, you could build an interior section that gets covered up by exterior panels. So in the top half, you have Palpatine's throne room, in the bottom half, you have a hangar with a Lambda-class shuttle, and then possibly, depending on how it's constructed in the middle, you can have a miniature depiction of the core, as well as the corridors that lead to it, with the Millennium Falcon, an X-Wing, and a couple of TIE interceptors. Again, would they ever do this? I don't know. Things get difficult with the Death Star too because of how it's still under construction. Again, like, how would the panels necessarily cover up those areas that I'm considering could fit on the inside of it? But I bet there are ways, and it would be more in line with what fans were expecting. The Death Star 2 is much more visually interesting from the outside, so it makes for a better UCS set than a giant coin with dioramas. But again, I likely still wouldn't buy it because I already have one. The biggest detriment to having been collecting for 25 years is that
I've been in this fight since I was 6 years old.
And nothing really interests me much anymore unless it's totally new stuff in recent years being based off of the Mandoverse, has never been made, or if the remake just blows me away. I'm also just not going to buy sets over $500 because nothing above that price threshold is likely going to be worth it to me, with the exception of the Venator, and I still use $90 in rewards to help bring the price down. That says a lot more about me because I still had to shill out and just get that many points, but I often wait for double points and deals like that to take place. Still, you know, I'm often buying things at full retail price. But hopefully the double points help offset that. Still, I mean, it took a few years to do that, and I still had to pay another $100 for a display stand just so that I could better appreciate the Venator given where I placed it. But expensive sets are generally pretty large, and there's just not enough room anymore. So it's like this $1,000 Death Star set doesn't matter to me because it's huge. I have no room for it, and anything that's like $500 is already going to be pretty big, so it's like I can't do it. And after all these years, there's never been a Jedi Temple, a droid factory, or a Petronaki arena, and should those ever come into being, then I'm going to have to make some tough decisions. But until then, another Death Star.
You whatever.
So this has been MCLegoboy. See you guys.